We got another warrior talent tree from the Star Wars Force and Destiny Knights of Fate Night Career Sourcebook. Today we're talking Juyo Berserker. So, Juyo is the 7th lightsaber form that most Jedi don't really get to experiment with. They all kind of like learn the original 6 like a little bit. They get the basics and they might focus on 1 or 2 or whatever to specialize and become a master in. But Juyo Berserker, or Juyo, is the 7th form which focuses on your rage and the emotions within you to attack with ferocity, and they're almost completely attack. Very little defense in this tree, just hit your enemies as fast and hard as possible, take them out as quickly as possible, kind of the exact opposite of the last one we talked about in this book, Colossus. And the structure of this tree is really weird, but it also fits really well thematically. See, the idea is that Mace Windu came up with a Juyo variant called Vaapad, which allowed him to channel his inner darkness towards positive outcomes, so he gained full control over his emotions. And there is this split here. It's this weird, like, corkscrew kind of shape on the tree. You only have one path through the tree for a while, and the other 3 talents at the very top, they're not connected to anything. If you want to make your way down through the tree, you have to go through this one path, this corkscrew path. Eventually, though, it does split off into these 2 separate corkscrews, and one of them is basically the Windu path, where it's more about abilities fueled by your light side energy, and there's a capstone at the end of it that it's a Vaapad talent. And then the other one, the shorter, more quicker and easier path, is where you just fully embrace the whole given to your dark side kind of a thing. There's a conflict talent at the very end, which you already have a few at that point, and you can just focus on doing damage being fueled by the dark side energy and feeding off of that. So there's a bit of a choice there, although of course obviously you can just max out the tree as you could any tree. Let's get started. So the 3 talents that you can avoid entirely, those are the only real defense talents that you have, and so you'll probably want to snatch those up pretty quick and then work your way down the tree just so you have something to work with from a defensive standpoint. Now, offensively speaking, like I said, it's all about dispatching your foes as quickly as possible, so there's a big emphasis on inflicting critical strikes on your opponent. We've got a couple talents that will help with that, some that are pretty familiar and basic as far as inflicting criticals go, but also the dark side capstone of the dark side path in this tree, Juyo Savagery, where you get help with criticals based off of the dark side energy that exists. You feed off of that, and you can do better criticals, which is great. Also helping with the whole burst damage strategy. We got a couple ranks of Quick Strike to help you attack better before someone else does. And we also get a couple ranks of a talent that will help you use your dark side energy offensively, especially in a high burst kind of situation. Stack as much damage and destructive capability into as few hits as possible right up front. You just do more damage, or at least you can if you make the decision, do more damage based off of the dark side points that are in the game. Also, we get a little help of dealing with multiple opponents. Makes sense, your defense is crappy, not as crappy as I made it out to be. You do get some defense, more defense later on, but that takes a while. Your defense is kind of crappy. Your defense is an offense, and odds are you're going to feel the effects of it even more so when you're against multiple opponents. I mean, most fights have multiple opponents, so you're going to get a lot of use out of this, and you'll be more effective in those situations. Now, if you choose to focus on the longer, lighter path, you'll get a bit more help with your defense, mostly just parry, but you know, that can be a big help, especially for someone who's always going to be up in people's faces with melee, or rather lightsaber attacks more often than not. I guess melee would work, right? No, your 2 big ones are lightsaber focus. You want to be a lightsaber character for this one. And the rest of that path is a bunch of talents that help you use the amount of light side destiny points in your pool in a variety of ways. One of which will help you reduce conflict, which is great because we got a couple talents already which will raise your conflict, so that'll help balance that out. And also we have the Vaapad control talent, where basically you can attack better because of the light side energy. You've managed to achieve a state of calm in spite of the roiling rage of emotions boiling inside of you, so you can hit them better with your light stick. And also you can use your force ability to help maintain a state of calm by managing your strain a bit better, which is going to be helpful because we got a few spend strain or take strain to do a thing talents, so that'll be helpful. And finally, because you're someone who's constantly giving into rage and all that, you're probably going to be pretty decent, at least competent, at intimidating people, and also hard to intimidate. Therefore, we have intimidating, that talent. We got a little bit of that. So when you're not stabbing people mercilessly, you can also threaten to stab them mercilessly, and you know, so it's a little different. So, Juyo Berserker is a really good damage dealer. I love the emphasis on this particular playstyle, this super aggressive, not very defensive type. That's really interesting and might be fun to play, fit your character perfectly. And normally I'd be annoyed by the fact that there's very little choice for so long, but because they save it, they salvage it by putting in this choice. Well, I guess it's not really a choice, because you can keep going back and forth, but it feels like a choice, like I'm physically... I mean, you kind of physically are moving down these two different paths, and I would feel committed to one for a while before eventually I'd go through the other one. But I would feel committed to one, and to me it would be like a big character thing, which one I end up focusing on. I'll end up getting both of them, obviously, because why not? But still, it would feel like a big character thing to focus on one. I like that. That makes it more interesting. At the very least, it balances out the fact that it's just so linear for so long. Anyway, if we're gonna build our Juyo Berserker, which you should, it seems like a really great tree. Brawn, obviously, is going to be really great. Why not? You need all the defense you can get, and sure, you could focus on something else. I don't know, maybe if you paired this with Neomon Disciple, and you really want to focus on the Intimidation route, Neomon Disciple, even just to get the technique. Maybe a few other tools in your toolbox, I guess. There's some defensive stuff in there, but mostly you could have a really high will and attack with that, and also use that to intimidate more so. So that might not be a bad pairing, but even still, I would probably want a 4 will, 4 brawn for that. And even if you don't go that route, Neomon Disciple, 4 will, 4 brawn is what I would want to do with this character, because with that 4 brawn, you steer into your strength and also shore up your weakness simultaneously, which is wonderful. I like nice, simple builds. Will help you with initiative and strain management and all that. And also, there's not much else to really focus on. Maybe something that fits your character, some other aspect to your character, but beyond that, brawn, will, that's all you need. Helps you with strain and initiative, offense, defense. You're good to go. So pick Juyo Berserker and go stab some people. That's it for today. If you like this video and want to see more, come back tomorrow. We got a new video every day for all of December. See you then.